This mission is a follow-on to mission M01 Cold Start. It resumes at the point we left with our Mirage F1 as it was just after 40 minutes of set on the road coast and in this mission, we will learn how to take off and climb the Mirage F1 CE, following the procedures of the real aircraft, adapted for DCS. The mission includes the following sections: pre-taxi checks, taxi, takeoff, climb. This training series is set on the Syria map, and the approximate mission time is 15 minutes. The mission will end once you reach 15,000 feet. Press spacebar to begin. You can adjust the sound volume produced by the background air traffic by moving the in-cockpit sound slider on the DCS options audio screen, which you can access by pressing the escape key. This instructor's volume level can be adjusted with the helmet sound slider. Also, you can press spacebar to skip long voiceovers. The aircraft has just been started and all the after-start checks are already performed. The real aircraft's procedure still has some more checks prior to taxi. Please select. Press backspace to omit all non-essential pre-taxi checks. Press spacebar to perform the full procedure. Trims, test each trim channel, then set to neutral. Click the flight stick to hide it in order to have a better view of the trim display. Test rudder trim. Operate the rudder trim switch in both directions, while viewing the trim indicator. Confirm on the indicator that the rudder trim bar moves to the left or right of center, following the switch inputs. To end this check, leave the rudder trim centered. Press spacebar to continue once the trim bar is fully centered. Test roll trim. Operate the roll trim using the flight stick trim hat, trimming the roll in both directions, while viewing the trim indicator. Good. Confirm on the trim indicator that the roll bar is tilted to the right. Next, actuate the trim to the left. OK, check on the indicator that the roll trim has its bar banked to the left. Now actuate the trim towards the right. Stop, the roll trim is now almost leveled. Press spacebar to continue once the trim bar is horizontal. Test pitch trim. On the same way as with the roll channel, trim the pitch in both directions, while viewing the trim indicator. OK, check on the indicator that the pitch trim bar is over center. Now actuate the trim towards pitch down. Good, check on the indicator that the pitch trim bar is under center. Now actuate the trim towards pitch up. Stop, the pitch trim is now almost level. Press spacebar to continue once the pitch trim bar is horizontal. High lift device selector switch, check it's at normal. Combat flap lever. Use your HOTAS or the left Ctrl+V keys to confirm it's retracted. Air brakes. Extend and lock using the throttle air brake switch. Monitor with the AF light. The air brakes are now fully extended. Flap lever, full aft. Extend the flaps while monitoring them on the configuration indicator. Good, the flaps are now full down. Press spacebar to continue. At this point, the ground crew would inspect the extension of air brake and flaps. Afterwards, return to cockpit view with F1. Retract the air brakes using the air brake switch on the throttle. The air brakes are now fully retracted. Press spacebar to continue. Radar set. Confirm its switch is at standby. Sight set. Check that its switch is set to on. Fuel, check the following. Fuel transfer sequence switch, as required. For this mission it should be at LIS, clean, as we don't have external fuel tanks. Emergency fuel transfer switch. Check it's off, on its down position. Crossfeed switch. Confirm it's off, on its down position. Fuel gauge. Check that the fuel remaining indicator operates normally. Fuselage and feeder tank quantities checked. Hydraulic pressures. Confirm they are normal, check both circuit 1 and 2, plus the ancillary and brake subsystems. On the oxygen panel. Quantity, check the pointer is in its green range. Blinker, operation checked. Failure warnings panel. All lights should be out. Canopy. Confirm it is closed and locked, the pressurization seal should be inflated. Test nose wheel steering. Press the rudder pedals left and right. Good, now okay, now steer right. Finally, center the steering. On real life, the ground crew would hand signal you the results of this check. Next, check the control stick for full travel, moving it left, right, up and down. If the stick is hidden, click on its highlight to make it appear. Good, the stick seems to be working properly. Now center the stick and press spacebar to continue. We will now contact air traffic control to ask for taxi clearance. The green radio is already on, set to the preset frequency of ATC, and the green knob is pushed in on the audio panel to select its radio for transmitting. Press the / key to bring up the DCS communications menu. Good, now select F1, request taxi to runway. Press spacebar once ATC has granted clearance. Take note of the runway that ATC has assigned to our flight, it should be runway 29. Slaved and standby altimeters. Confirm their pressure is set. It should be 1013 millibars, equivalent to 29.91 inches of mercury. Taxi light. Turn the taxi light on by placing the highlighted switch on its middle position. The canopy may be partially opened for taxi, but it must be placed on this position with the aircraft stopped. The PCAB warning light is lit whenever the canopy is not fully closed. Check that there is no other taxi traffic nearby, if necessary wait a bit for other traffic to pass. Release parking brake, confirm frame light is out. Advance the throttle to 6000 rpm to start the aircraft rolling. Avoid setting power between 55 to 6000 rpm during taxi to avoid alternator gear changes. Now apply wheel brakes to stop the air. Good. At this point, on the real aircraft, the ground crew checks the undercarriage pitch damper. The aircraft is steered with rudder pedals only, do not assist with toe brakes. Steer gradually. Attempting to turn suddenly can result in you dragging the front wheel instead of turning. Resume the taxi. Turn left to head towards the taxiway. Proceed straight towards the taxiway. On the upcoming intersection, turn left towards the runway 29 start. Good. Proceed straight over this taxiway. Try to align with the yellow line. Do not exceed 20 knots while taxiing in a straight line. On the upcoming intersection, turn right towards the start of runway 29. You are approaching runway 29, turn right to enter it. You are now at the start of the runway, align on its center line and bring the aircraft to a full stop. We will now contact ATC to ask for takeoff permission. Press the backslash key to bring up the DCS communications menu. Good, now select F1, request takeoff. Press spacebar once ATC has granted permission.
Uzi 1-1, request takeoff. Uzi 1-1, request takeoff.
Uzi 1-1, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 27.34.
Before the first flight of the day, perform the following emergency regulation check. Press wheel brakes during the whole procedure. Throttle. At idle, wait for engine speed to stabilize at 2900 plus or minus 100 rpm. Emergency regulation switch. Set to on after lifting its cover. Emergency regulation light, it should illuminate. Increase engine RPM by blipping the emergency regulation control lever with a few right clicks. As soon as an engine RPM increase is noted, set the emergency regulation switch to off, and close its cover. Emergency regulation light should go out. This completes the check. Pitot heat switch. Check it's on. The ANEMO light should be out. Canopy should be closed and locked. The P-cab light is out. Failure warnings panel. All lights should be out. Fuel transfer indicator lights. All its lights should be out. Jettison buttons, unguarded. Normally, this is done only if carrying stores, so that they can be quickly dropped in case of emergency, but we will do it today just for practice. Uncover the landing gear handle safety lock, for a quicker retraction once in the air, but be careful of not touching the landing gear lever until then. Emergency regulation light. Check it's out, to be sure that the normal engine regulator is active. Takeoff light. Turn the light to its takeoff setting, by placing the highlighted switch on its forward position. Slats and flaps. Confirm they are set to full flaps. Check once again the control stick for full travel, moving it left, right, up and down. Good, the stick seems to be working properly. Headings, checked. Confirm that all headings match. Hold wheel brakes and then move the throttle into minimum afterburner. When the afterburner is ignited, check RPM and JPT. Release the brakes. After rolling a few yards, select full afterburner. Keep the aircraft on the center line, avoiding excessive action on the rudder pedals. Rotate at 120 knots, set an attitude of 12 degrees. The aircraft becomes airborne at about 150 knots. Retract the landing gear. Retract the flaps at 200 knots, while increasing the pitch attitude. The limit light will illuminate if you exceed 225 knots with the gear or flaps extended. Turn the landing light off, by placing it in position, with 2 left clicks. At 300 knots, afterburner off. Set the throttle to maximum military thrust. Check oxygen is at normal. Replace the guard covers of the jettison buttons. You are climbing too slowly. And check throttle at maximum military power. You are climbing too fast. Increase pitch and check throttle. You have reached an altitude of 15,000 feet. Congratulations, you have completed this training mission and performed all checks. Well done. Press A to exit the mission.